And so it is. And so here we are, my dear ones. And so what is it that maybe Spirit might want us to look at today? Well, I picked up the book this morning, as I usually do, and I'm going to share what fell out of the pages so that you and I can know something more about life and living and our own good selves. And the book is here. And now this is an old book. It's a small book, and it's out of print, of course. Lots of the older ones are. It's called The Key to Yourself by Dr. Venice Bloodworth. And the page I opened was on sowing the seed. So I just copied it on pages so that I wouldn't lose the page in the book, as I have done before. And I'm going to share it with us and see where it takes us and what it brings to us and what it invites from us. Now, we have learned so far that thought is creative. Indeed, we have. We've proved it to ourselves that thought was created. Do you remember all the times you said to yourself, I knew that was going to happen? I knew that was going to happen. And we've learned it mostly on the negative side of life. As like Jove, that which I fear the most has come upon me, he said. Stop fearing and stop knowing anything negative. So, he says, while we may think what we choose, our thoughts are governed by immutable laws, that the universal mind or energy is the basic fact of all existence. We're governed by universal laws, out of which existence flows. That there is but one power or principle pervading the entire universe, and that through our subconscious mind, which is a part of the universal mind, we may condition our life in exact accord with what we would have it to be. We may condition our lives to what we would want it to be. May is the operative word. Now we will find out how we obtain good results through our thinking processes. We share about thinking a lot, and the reason why we do is because it means it's everything. It's everything. Your thinking and my thinking produces the life we're living, so we cannot visit it sufficiently. We need to thoroughly understand it, and understanding it, use it according to the laws of mind, not ego. When we want to raise cabbage in our gardens, we plant what? Cabbage seeds. If we want beans, corn, or anything else, we plant the seeds of what it is we want to grow. You plant these definite seeds in the same soil, but you know that the perfection of your harvest depends on the quality of your seed. And you carefully attend during the growth of the seed. You are never in doubt as to the nature of your product because you know that where you planted corn, corn will grow. Where you planted beans, beans will grow, etc., etc. We sow and grow and reap our thoughts in exactly the same way. Now, who gives the same kind of attention to the seed thoughts that we're growing in our mind as we do to our garden seeds? Who gives the very same thought? Few amongst us. Why do I say few amongst us? Well, look out into the world and see the way it is. It's the result of people growing all kinds of weird and wonderful seeds. So if you and I could become the most marvelous mind gardeners, each individual at a time, the whole world would change amazingly and indeed produce a much better world for our children's children, etc. We reap what we sow. We reap it in kind and in quality. It's what happens when you don't drink water, when you get a little frog visiting you. Now, I know I have some at the podium, but I was desiring to get through this without coughing. But you know what? It never fails. Spirit will do everything and anything to keep us humble. And I'm going to have a good talk with Spirit after this session together. I'm going to do a Teresa of Avila on God. When she was crossing the river, going on about her business to bring reform to all the convents of the day, she got stuck in the river. She had to get out, shove the bullocks onto the land, and of course everybody's wet and everything in the wagon is wet. She stands there and she looks up to heaven and she says, "Oh God, if this is the way you treat your friends, no wonder you have so many enemies." That's what she is reputed to have done. She was a woman of great energy and great power and great passion. So she showed it every which way. Kind of reminds me like the time when Jesus got very cross and upset, to say the very least, and whipped the moneylenders in the temple, whipped them and upturned their tables and kicked them out of town, so to speak, saying, "My Father's house is a house of prayer, but you have made it a den of thieves." I love that Jesus had those kinds of days. Makes him more identifiable with, don't you think? Sometimes that happens. I'd rather not have it happen in my own life because it's just not pretty, is it? And you don't feel very good once you've given into a hissy fit. At least that's my experience. Anyway, meanwhile, back to the point being made here about thoughts and them being creative and out of which our life flows, we've got to be careful with what we sow. And so he says, everything and everybody is governed by the same law, and we should not expect to reap riches from poverty thoughts, happiness from miserable thoughts, health from disease thoughts, or peace from angry thoughts, any more than we would expect to grow tomatoes from grapevines. Sounds simple, doesn't it? But look at how we don't pay attention to the mental law of growth. Just look into your life and see every mistake you have made and every situation that didn't go well. It was because none of it was well thought out or thought through. It's called most of us living in a state of random thinking, whatever pops up in the mind. Oh, let me tell you, an unmonitored mind is like a herd of wild horses, cannot be harnessed, and God knows what kind of havoc it will create. We can't afford not to pay attention to the kind of thoughts we're thinking and, as a result, the kind of feelings those thoughts produce in us, and consequently, the kind of behaviors that thought and feeling produce. So, who knew that was the simple answer to all of our woes and wails? Take care of what you're thinking, and life will take care of itself. That's the message. Every time you think, you start a chain of causation that will create a condition in strict accord with the quality of thought which organized it and originated it. Whether we have success or failure, it comes by the operative mindset that you and I produce. It is the seed you sow that decides the nature of your product. What are you sowing by way of seeds in your mind today? Never mind about yesterday, tomorrow. Today. Because out of the seeds that you're growing through your mindset today, you're creating an open receptivity to some kind of an experience. We've got to make sure that we want to grow affirmation and an affirmative experience, don't you think? And it does require mindfulness. You can't just drift away in Margaritaville of consciousness, which is to let everything slide and have no thought about anything, but just go with any stray thought that enters your mind, any stray feeling that enters your emotional body. It's so simple when you hear it. It's so hard. In the beginning, to do what? To monitor your mind. I can guarantee you, if you get up in the day and you're feeling good and you've offset the day with something wonderful and off you go into the day, and then by lunch you're feeling dreadful, I'll guarantee you've been entertaining some negative thoughts. Somewhere your thought pattern changed and you became concerned about something or another, or angry about something or another, or depressed about something or another. And then when you discover that, what do? Well, you shake yourself off and you snap out of it. Just snap out of it. That's why we have to monitor our minds. So imagine everybody as being a miniature manufacturing plant. Our raw material is the limitless, inexhaustible substance of being. Some of us turn our beautiful homes, automobiles, fine raiment, health, happiness, and everything else our heart desires. We turn all of that into wonderful good for ourselves and others. Others work harder, are not so healthy, and gain a mere pittance. Still others manufacture for themselves poverty, disease, and crime, yet we all use the same substance or material. Neither are we restricted as to quality. The supply is always equal to the demand, but we must make the demand and supply the kind of quality in the seeds that we are sowing. Be very careful here, because although we're creating negative experiences for ourselves, when it comes to health, you have to watch it. You can't judge a health challenge as being the outcome of negative seeds sown. You cannot do that. Many of the greatest of saints and loving and kind people on this planet were seriously sick in body, or so it appeared. And if you read some of their writings and some of their memoirs, you realize that sometimes beings come amongst us and they take from us the ailments and experience them in their own bodies. Why they would do that, I don't know. I don't know if I could do that. I don't know. None of us know what we would do unless we were in the situation, but that's to keep you and me from not judging the book by the cover and being so superior in what we think we know. Like one guy said to Ernest Holmes when he was getting into his car, well, if all this teaching is so great and you can self-heal and all of that, why are you wearing glasses? He just said, sir, I wear my mistake upon my face. Where do you wear yours? Judgment is a killer, and it sows seeds of unwellness of all kinds. Judgment does. Negative judgment, I'm talking about. All of us have to be able to judge life fairly and squarely and judge it according to the universal principles of life, along the lines of what is good and whole and wholesome. Now, when it comes to judgment, the only judgment I can have is of myself, not of you or anybody else, although all the evidence may be in the face of me to say this is a rotten, horrible, awful scoundrel. A rotten, awful, horrible scoundrel that appeared to be has been transformed into quite the opposite. And that was their journey. That was the way they chose to come home to the self. So who are we to judge? And just like that man caught on to Dr. Ernest Holmes and accused him of not being able to heal himself, he only did that because he could see something that to him was amiss. But so many of our mistakes that are deep and dark cannot be seen by the outer eye. And often, the devil can show up in sheep's clothing, as my mom used to say. So when it comes to all of the growing of good, healthy seeds in our consciousness, we have to avoid negativity at all costs. It's bad soil. It's bad soil. And it's not going to grow what you hope it will grow. Quite the contrary. Any one of us could have a beautiful, fertile mind, a pure soil to sow great seeds in. Any one of us can do this. Thinking makes it so. Feeling makes it so. Action makes it so. And thinking and feeling combined create the way we act. So when you and I feel our thoughts really going in the wrong direction, into the dark instead of the light, we need to pull them back and say, I don't think so. Over here. This is where you go. When you and I feel ourselves getting depleted in emotional energy and tending toward emotional negativity, we can breathe in very deeply. Instantaneously, we can change that by breathing in the light, breathing in the life, breathing in that presence that dissipates every single thing unlike itself. Who knew that simply breathing could be the greatest of all medicine when you know what you're breathing and when your mindset is right as you're breathing? It's like Nancy Reagan used to say to drugs, just say no. Well, just say no to the negativity that wants to take up its, residence within us of any kind. I don't think so. No entrance here. No entrance here. So what is it go? You know what? And there's more good stuff in these pages, which I'll get around to sooner or later. But the question for you and for me today is, look, what's going on with you right now? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? And what is it producing as a result of what you're thinking and what you're feeling? Is your thinking making you feel everything is doable, making you feel good, making you feel, I can handle this, making you feel, oh, this is just a temporary incapacitating thing. It's not going to remain in my body. It's on its way out. What are you thinking? Because there is no impossibility in divine conscious mind. Everything is possible in divine conscious mind. Everything. Why do you think Jesus said, "Physician, heal thyself," to each and every one of us? Another day when he was having a rough time of it and everybody wanted a big piece of him, eventually said, "Physician, heal thyself," to everybody else who was in the line. Again, the beauty of Jesus, how we can identify with Jesus because of these experiences. So I'm just going to ask you the question now in conclusion. What are you thinking? Because it's producing what you're feeling. And what you're thinking and what you're feeling is producing an experience in your life. So be careful what you think, because there's nothing, good nor bad, but thinking makes it so, as Mr. Will Shakespeare once said. Nothing is good or bad, but thinking produces it. So think well today, everybody, of yourself. Think about yourself as something that's totally amazing. Some amazing, one-of-a-kind, individualized expression of infinite intelligence awaiting your command. Your consciousness is like a genie. I await your command, O Master. What is your wish? What is your desire? My service is totally at your disposal, because your wish is my command. Think about that as far as your mind and consciousness is concerned. Because your wish is your consciousness demand. Be careful what you think and feel, because you're going to absolutely realize it. So I'm knowing for you and for myself today, very good thoughts, very creative thoughts, very productive thoughts, very advancing thoughts, very kind thoughts, loving thoughts, inclusive thoughts, unity thoughts, and all that you might imagine is the divine nature of spirit. That's the kind of thinking I'm thinking for you today. So now you and I are going to celebrate our fullness, our plenty, our prosperity of mind, body, heart, and soul, and the prosperity in all of our affairs. And we are going to know that always we are supplied. Once we believe that always we are supplied from the divine source itself. Every good thing that your heart desires, Spirit desires it for you. All the treasure of the kingdom of consciousness is at your disposal, according to the teaching of the enlightened master teacher, Christed Jesus. Let's take him at his word. Know with me right here and right now. Divine mind consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, to prosper all those who give and all of those who receive. And I rejoice in the sharing of my good, and I release my gift with love, and so it is. So until we come together again, meet in mind and heart, just know that all the thinking here in this wonderful divine idea called the Redondo Beach Center for Spiritual Living is gratitude to you for being such a light on the planet right now, for bringing forth such good thinking, good feeling, good happenings in our world. So yes, all your kind thoughts, all your kind words, all your kind deeds are making a vast and huge difference. And so keep tending to the soil of your mind and heart and take very good care of it, For out of it is produced all the experiences of not only your own individual life, but our communal life together on this planet. Thank you. We love you. We support you any way we can. But there's no way we can support anybody if we don't know about what it is you need the support for. Keep in touch. Let us know. We're here for you. And very soon, we will be in each other's company again. And won't that be a glad and joyous day when we initiate that seed of a new life together, of new growth together, of a new way of being together as one mind, one heart, one united body in love and understanding, in peace and compassion, in kindness, in goodness, in sharing all of our good. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. I can't wait. So until we meet again, I will say goodbye as the children do. And so it is.